there, so we are in for another Karen's Kitchen cooking class today.
What are you making today in this terrible weather, Mom?
Yes, we're having a thunderstorm today. I am making meatloaf muffins, and it is a fast way to make meatloaf. Instead of making a big giant log, we make them in a muffin tin. This is a large size muffin tin. You get 6 muffins in this tin. I have an extra loaf pan because I tend to have too much to fit in these 6, so this will be the overflow. The key is it's not going to be really thick, so it'll only cook about 20 to 25 minutes instead of a real meatloaf that takes an hour. And then every person gets their own individual meatloaf muffin, which is kind of cute that way. I have the oven heating to like 410, 420, yeah, about 410. And we're also going to have some Caesar salad with it, so I have some romaine lettuce here that I'm going to clean and use. And some croutons that go with it. It's just going to be very simple, just an extra side dish for the meatloaf. You can make anything really that you want, mac and cheese, anything kind of Americana works. Well, Caesar salad isn't American, but it works anyway. These are some of the ingredients we're going to be using. This is Montreal steak seasoning, parsley, salt and pepper, some onion powder, milk, plain breadcrumbs, eggs. We have 1 pound of ground beef. I use 85/15. 1 pound of ground pork and 1 pound of ground veal. This makes quite a lot, so it'll make 6 muffins plus a bit of a loaf. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare the muffin tins so that we can put the meat in, because once you get started your hands are going to get dirty and there's really no way to go back here. So we're going to spray the muffin tins so that they don't stick. It's a non-stick pan, but I still spray it anyway just so that they don't stick. And I'm going to spray this one. And set them to the side. The trick to making meatloaf is to mix the wet ingredients first and then adding the meat last. Because if you overmix the meat, it's the same trick as meatballs actually. If you overmix the meat, it gets hard and then it's tough. So it's not soft and tender when you eat it. I need the breadcrumbs, which my son was using as a stand there. This is going to be for, again, this is 3 pounds of meat, so we are going to use a cup of breadcrumbs. And of course, as usual, I eyeball it. I hate to sound like Rachel Ray, but it's a lot easier with cooking than it is with baking to take some guesses. This is onion powder. This is about 2 teaspoons, if you were to measure it. The Montreal steak seasoning is about 1 tablespoon. You can put more or less depending on how much you like this. If you put too much, it's going to be overpowering, but 1 tablespoon, tablespoon and a half should be plenty. And some parsley. This is just plain dried parsley. Again, this is about 1 tablespoon. Tablespoon and a half. Salt and pepper, the usuals. Some fresh ground pepper. This is about 1 teaspoon. And this is going to be about 2 teaspoons of salt, or 1 tablespoon. Again, this cooks a lot of meat. If you're cooking 3 pounds of meat, that's going to be enough for 8 people. It should be. So not to worry there. So then we're going to mix all these dry ingredients together. And then we are going to add the wet ingredients right into the breadcrumbs. And because I have 3 pounds of meat, I'm going to use 2 extra large eggs that are going to go right in here. And approximately 1/2 cup of milk. And that's going to go right in.
If you wanted to make 1 pound of meat, would you just put in just one egg?
One egg, yeah, everything would be less. 1 pound of meat should be 1 egg. Anything 2 pounds or more would be 2 eggs. A general rule of thumb can be an egg per pound, but you don't have to have that many eggs. I could put in a 3rd one, but I don't need it. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is to make it's not a slurry, but it's a wet, loose kind of breadcrumb mixture. And this is going to be the moisture that holds the meatloaf together and adds the flavor to the meat. So that's about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of milk. And this is all ready to go. And then what I'm going to do is open each packet of meat. I buy the meat in larger quantities, so I freeze it this way.
Boy, that sucked. Hi, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Sucks even more.
Hey, Dad.
Whoops, the cap went into the bowl.
I guess that'll go on YouTube.
I guess so. And we're going to salt each meat as it goes in. I'm going to save this. I'm going to cook it for my dog. This extra burger here. Because it's a little bit more than, I had that too much. It was more than a pound.
Because our dog is spoiled.
The dog is spoiled. She does get hamburger mixed into her food. And this is the pork. I'm going to season that as well.
Why do you salt them all individually?
Well, because if I put them straight in the bowl, they're covered by each other and they wouldn't get enough salt on their own. So you have to salt each meat that goes in. It's not a lot, it's just a little bit, just because the meat, especially the pork and the veal, is kind of not too flavorful on their own. The pork is going to add fat, and the veal is just going to add a different depth to the meat. You're wet.
Yeah, before you put this one on YouTube, you might want to edit that out.
Yeah. Okay, so all the meat is salted and it's in the bowl. The wet ingredients are in there. And this is where you kind of have no choice but to get in there and get dirty. And again, part of the trick to this is to really not over mix it. I have a couple of frozen bits still in there because the meat had been in the freezer. And you just kind of work it in. Until it's incorporated all together. It takes a few minutes, so we just have to... And this is something that if you want the kids to help you do it, that's fine. Just don't let them get any of the raw meat near their mouths, because you don't want to eat beef or pork or any of these meats raw. Okay. Alrighty. So I think that should do it.
So Nick, this is a household favorite, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take a handful of meat. Probably comes like a very large, like a baseball, an American-sized baseball, and put it in.
You have to remember, Mom, most of your Twitter followers are European.
They know what a baseball is, a cricket ball.
I'm sure.
Just
saying.
Oh, and if it's too big, just pull some off. You don't want it going over the top. It has to be level. And again, if it sticks to you, it's just, you know, you wash your hands when you're done. Can't be worried about it. And just push it down. Juliana, can you lower that a smidge? We don't really want to hear iCarly episodes, I don't think. I think we can edit all these extra meatballs out too. You can erase it.